First up, the 1952 penny with the Denver Mint mark, often referred to as the 1952 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny A, is one of those coins that draws attention from collectors because of its history, its design, and its place in the coin market today. Even when the coin is found in less than perfect condition, such as being dirty, it can still hold some value, especially to beginners and collectors who are trying to complete their set of wheat pennies. The Lincoln Wheat Penny design was created by Victor David Brenner and was first issued in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the 100th anniversary of his birth. It became the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person rather than a symbolic image. The obverse side, or the front of the coin, shows the bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the word liberty on one side and the motto, "In God We Trust," along the top. The year 1952 is shown under Lincoln's portrait, and if the coin was minted in Denver, you will see a small letter D just below the date. The reverse side of the coin features two wheat stalks, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto, E Pluribus Unum. This wheat design was used from 1909 until 1958, when it was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design. The Denver Mint produced a large number of Lincoln wheat pennies in 1952. In fact, over 746 million examples of the 1952 D penny were struck, which means the coin is not rare in the sense of availability. Because of such a high mintage, most 1952 D pennies in circulated condition, especially those that are dirty or show heavy wear, are not extremely valuable. They are still collectible, but their value is usually modest. When we talk about a coin being in dirty condition, that usually means it has environmental damage, discoloration, or years of grime in handling that make it less appealing. Professional collectors often avoid cleaning coins, because cleaning can actually damage the surface and reduce the value further. So if you come across a 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny that is dirty, it is generally better to leave it as is rather than try to make it shiny. Collectors usually prefer coins in their natural state, even if they are unattractive, because authenticity is more important than appearance. In today's market, the value of a 1952 D penny in dirty or heavily circulated condition usually ranges from about 2 cents to 10 cents. This is because the copper in the coin itself already has some intrinsic value, but the demand from collectors is what keeps the price slightly above face value. If the coin is in average circulated condition, but not too badly damaged, it may sell for closer to 5 to 10 cents. Heavily worn or very dirty examples are often only worth a couple of cents. However, the real value in 1952 D pennies comes when the coin is found in better condition or with certain errors. Uncirculated coins, meaning those that never entered general circulation and still have their original mint luster, can be worth several dollars in mint state condition with strong eye appeal. Some examples of the 1952 D penny can sell for $15 to $20 or even more, depending on the grade. Rare errors, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, can increase the value dramatically. Some error varieties have been known to sell for $50 or higher, depending on how dramatic the mistake is and how much collectors are willing to pay. But if we are focusing only on the typical 1952 D penny in dirty condition, the value remains low. It is still an interesting coin to own because it represents a part of American history. And for young collectors or beginners, even a dirty wheat penny can be exciting to find. Many people discover wheat pennies in old jars, drawers, or pocket change and get curious about their value. While a dirty 1952 D penny might not make you rich, it can still be the starting point of a rewarding coin collection. One of the other factors that influences value is the current price of copper. Since the 1952 D penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the metal content alone has value. At times, when copper prices are higher, even worn wheat pennies can be worth more for their melt value than their collectible value. However, it is illegal to melt down U.S. coins for their metal content. So the market really depends more on collector demand than on copper prices. In summary, the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a common coin with a high mintage, and in dirty condition it usually carries a value of just a few cents. It becomes more valuable in higher grades or when it features rare errors. For most collectors, its worth is not in the dollar amount but in its role as part of the broader Lincoln Wheat Penny series. Every wheat penny helps tell the story of American coinage and offers a chance for people to connect with history.
The 1943 steel penny is one of the most talked about coins in American numismatics, and for good reason. Struck during World War II, this coin tells a fascinating story about history, the economy, and the war effort. In 1943, the United States Mint made a drastic change to the penny's composition. Instead of the usual copper, which was desperately needed for ammunition and other military supplies, the mint produced pennies from zinc-coated steel. This change created a coin with a silvery appearance that looked very different from the traditional bronze cents people were used to seeing. The Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at the time, struck the largest number of these coins, and those without a mint mark are very common today. If you flip over a 1943 penny and see no letter under the date, you are holding a Philadelphia issue. Now, the key question collectors often ask is, what is this coin worth? The truth is, while the 1943 steel penny is famous, it is not particularly rare in circulated grades because hundreds of millions were made. Its value largely depends on condition. When we talk about a coin being in fine condition, we mean that the main details are still visible, but the coin shows moderate wear from circulation. For example, the outline of Lincoln's hair and the lettering on the coin are still clear, but the finer details are worn down. Fine condition is considered mid-level for circulated coins, not as heavily worn as good, but nowhere near as sharp or attractive as an uncirculated specimen. For the 1943 steel penny, without a mint mark in fine condition, the typical market value in today's collector market is modest. Price guides and dealer listings consistently place these coins in the range of around $120,000, most commonly under $1,000. That means if you have a circulated Philadelphia steel cent graded fine, you cannot expect a fortune from it. It is a historic coin with great story value, but not a retirement plan in itself. That said, collectors do buy them, and they still hold far more interest than a common modern penny. Of course, exceptions always exist. Certain error varieties, such as repunched mint marks or striking mistakes, can fetch higher prices. Even more famously, a very small number of 1943 pennies were accidentally struck in copper instead of steel. Those rare copper 1943 cents can sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But they are an entirely different coin from the ordinary steel version. If you ever suspect you might have one, weighing it is a good test. A genuine steel penny weighs about 2.7 grams, while a copper one weighs about 3.1 grams. For most collectors, the 1943 steel penny is a fun, affordable piece of history. In fine condition, its dollar value may be low, but its educational and historical significance is very high. It reminds us of the sacrifices made during World War II, and it stands out as one of the most unique designs in U.S. coinage because of its unusual metal. If you own one, you are holding a real piece of American history that many collectors treasure, even if it is worth only a few dollars in today's market.
Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the D Mint. Mark holds a special place in the hearts of both casual collectors and seasoned numismatists. This penny, struck in Denver during the height of World War II, has become one of the most talked about coins in the series. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into its history, design, background, and of course, its value in the current coin market when found in good condition. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and introduced a familiar portrait of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which remains on the penny to this day. The reverse featured 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity, and it gave the coin its nickname as the Wheat Penny. By the time 1944 came around, the coin had already been in circulation for 35 years and was one of the most recognized and commonly used pieces of U.S. currency. The 1944 Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver issue, marked with a small d under the date, is one of the most widely collected examples. In 1944, the country was still heavily involved in World War II, and coin production was essential to keep the economy running smoothly. During 1943, the U.S. Mint had experimented with making pennies from zinc-coated steel in order to conserve copper for the war effort. Those steel cents became infamous for rusting and being mistaken for dimes. By 1944, the mint returned to using copper, though much of the metal used that year came from recycled shell casings and other wartime materials. As a result, the 1944 Wheat Penny carries not only historical significance, but also patriotic symbolism tied to the wartime era. When discussing value, it is important to understand how coin collectors determine the worth of a coin. The condition, rarity, and demand all play major roles. Condition is judged on a grading scale that ranges from poor to mint state, with various stages like good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated in between. A 1944D wheat penny in uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more than the same coin in good condition. However, even in lower grades, this coin still holds interest for collectors because of its age and history. In today's market, a 1944D Lincoln wheat penny in good condition is relatively common, since millions were struck. The Denver Mint produced more than 430 million of these pennies in that year, making it one of the higher mintage issues of the series. Because of that, the coin is not considered rare in circulated grades. That being said, collectors are always on the lookout for them, and their value remains steady compared to other wheat cents from the 1940s. In good condition, which means the coin shows heavy wear but the date, mint mark, and major design elements are still visible, a 1944D wheat penny generally sells in the range of 10 to 20 cents in the current market. While that might not sound like a lot, keep in mind that this is still 10 to 20 times its original face value. For those who find one in their pocket change or old coin jar, it can feel like uncovering a small piece of American history. Every worn wheat penny tells a story, and the 1944D is no exception. Its connection to the wartime years, when Americans were making sacrifices and working together for the cause of freedom, gives it meaning beyond its monetary value. That is one reason why so many collectors, even beginners, make it a point to keep wheat pennies like the 1944D when they come across them. Of course, there are special varieties and errors that can dramatically increase the value of a 1944D penny. While a standard good condition example may only bring a few cents, rare mistakes, such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or coins accidentally struck on leftover steel planchettes from 1943, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These era coins are highly sought after, and they remind us that even the most ordinary-looking penny might turn out to be a treasure under closer examination. When looking specifically at a regular 1944D wheat penny in good condition, its value is modest but steady. Most dealers and collectors agree that these coins usually trade hands for about 15 cents on average. Prices can fluctuate slightly depending on the buyer, the exact amount of wear, and the overall demand in the market. For someone just beginning their collection, acquiring a 1944D penny is an affordable and rewarding experience, allowing them to own a coin that is over 80 years old without spending a fortune. In summary, the 1944D Lincoln wheat penny remains one of the most well-known coins from the World War II era. Its history, tied to recycled wartime materials, and its widespread circulation make it an important piece of American numismatic heritage. While not a rare or extremely valuable coin in good condition, its worth lies in its historical significance and its place in the story of American coinage. Collectors continue to appreciate it, and even though its price in the market may only be a fraction of a dollar, its sentimental and educational value far outweighs its modest financial return. So the next time you come across a 1944D Lincoln wheat penny, take a moment to think about the era it came from, the people who may have used it, and the journey it has made over the decades. Whether you keep it in your collection or simply appreciate it for what it represents, it is a coin that connects us to the past in a very real and tangible way.
Next up, the 1943 steel penny without a mint mark is one of the most recognizable coins from World War II, created when the U.S. Mint had to save copper for the war effort. Instead of the usual bronze composition, these cents were struck from steel and coated with zinc, giving them a shiny, silvery appearance when new. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number of these coins, and since Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark at the time, you will find many 1943 steel cents that simply read 1943 without any additional letters. When we talk about a coin being in good condition, it means the coin has seen heavy circulation. In this grade, the overall design is still identifiable, but the details are worn down. Lincoln's portrait, for example, is visible but flattened, with little to no fine detail in the hair or beard. The lettering and date are readable, but often faded, and there may be surface scratches, spots, or dullness from years of handling. Scratches, especially on steel cents, are very common, because the zinc coating wears away over time and the underlying steel can rust or corrode, leaving marks and rough surfaces. This is part of the reason why many surviving steel pennies look spotted or dull instead of shiny. As for value, the 1943 Philadelphia steel penny in good condition with scratches is considered a very common coin. Since more than 680 million of them were minted in Philadelphia alone, they are widely available on the market. Price guides and coin dealers generally place coins in this lower circulated condition at a value of around $200,000 each. Sometimes, if the scratches are very heavy or the coin shows significant rust, the value can be closer to face value or only $1,000, as collectors prefer cleaner examples. On the other hand, if the scratches are light and the coin is still intact without major corrosion, it can sell toward the higher end of that small range, perhaps closer to $50. It's important to note that while the standard 1943 steel cent in good condition is not worth much, collectors often still buy them as starter pieces or to fill a spot in a Lincoln cent collection. The real money is in error coins and high-grade certified examples. For instance, the rare 1943 copper cent is one of the most famous error coins in U.S. history and can be worth a fortune, while pristine steel cents graded uncirculated by PCGS or NGC can also bring strong prices at auction. But in everyday cases, a heavily circulated steel penny with scratches is more of a historical keepsake than an investment. Even though the dollar value is low, the coin is fascinating because of its background. It represents a time when the entire country made sacrifices during the war, even down to the materials used for the smallest coin in circulation. Holding one is like holding a tiny piece of 1940s American history. If you've got a 1943 steel penny without a mint mark in good condition with some scratches, it's a neat collectible, usually worth less than $1 today. But it carries with it a powerful story of resilience and resourcefulness.
Next up, the 1944 Lincoln cent has a special place in history and collecting. This coin was struck during a time when the world was at war, and the United States Mint was working under heavy demand to produce coins for the economy. The Denver Mint was one of the main producers of cents in that year, and millions were struck. Yet collectors still search for them today, and even common condition examples carry value to those interested in American history. The 1944 Wheat Penny is made of a bronze alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was the return to bronze after the steel cents of 1943, which were produced to save copper for the war effort. Because of that, the 1944 issues marked a return to the familiar copper color. However, over time, many of these coins toned differently, and some developed unusual shades or spots due to circulation and environmental factors. In your case, the coin you were asking about is described as having a black shade with damage and dot marks, which means it has environmental damage or heavy toning that changes its appearance from the original red or brown finish. When it comes to value, condition is the most important factor. Coin collectors and grading companies use a scale that ranges from poor all the way up to mint state, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. For a coin like the 1944 Lincoln cent, a heavily worn and damaged example will fall into the lowest end of the value range. These coins are still collectible, but they usually bring only a modest premium above face value. A typical circulated 1944 penny without serious damage can sell for around 5 to 20 cents, depending on its look and wear. Now, if the coin has a black color or surface damage with spots, collectors tend to value it even less than a normal circulated piece. This is because appeal matters greatly in coin collecting. A clean coin with natural brown toning is always preferred over a coin with corrosion, dark stains, or surface damage. So for your coin described as black shade, with dot damage, the realistic value in today's market is close to its lowest collectible range. Most dealers would offer between 1 cent and 5 cents for such a coin, and in some cases, they may only consider it as a filler for a collection rather than a piece with strong demand. That being said, there are always exceptions in coin collecting. Some collectors enjoy coins with unusual toning, and a black or dark shaded coin may still catch the interest of someone looking for a unique example. However, in the open market, especially online auctions and coin shows, these damaged or altered condition coins do not usually bring more than a few cents above face value. That is important to compare your coin with higher grade examples of the 1944 Lincoln cent to understand its place in the value chart. For example, a 1944 penny, in average circulated condition without damage, typically sells for around 10 to 50 cents. In better grades such as extremely fine or about uncirculated, it may bring $1 to $3. In mint state, which means the coin has never been used in circulation and retains its original luster, the price can rise significantly. A red mint state example graded by a professional grading company like PCGs or NGC can bring anywhere from $10 up to $50 depending on the grade. The most valuable examples are those in superb gem condition with full original red color, and these can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at major auctions. Collectors also search for errors in the 1944 D penny. Some famous varieties include doubled die errors, repunched mint marks, and the rare transitional error, where a 1944 D cent was mistakenly struck on a steel planchette left over from 1943. These error coins are extremely rare and worth thousands of dollars. Unfortunately, a coin with only environmental damage or black surface coloring is not considered a mint error and does not add to its value. Bought when selling or buying a 1944 D wheat penny in today's market, collectors usually turn to online platforms such as eBay or attend coin shows to compare values. Looking at completed sales gives a realistic picture of what collectors are currently paying. In today's market, a black shade damaged 1944 D penny typically sells for under $1, often closer to just a few cents. It is still worth holding onto for sentimental or historical reasons, but from a value standpoint, it will not bring a premium price. Still, the story of this coin is what makes it interesting. It represents the wartime economy, the massive production of coins in 1944, and the return to copper after the one-year experiment with steel cents. Every coin tells a story, and even a worn and damaged piece like yours is a small artifact from that time in history. Many collectors start their journey by finding wheat pennies in circulation or family collections, and even low-value coins spark curiosity and appreciation for numismatics. To summarize, the 1944 D Lincoln wheat penny in black shade with damage condition has minimal monetary value in today's market. It usually ranges from 1 cent up to maybe 5 cents, depending on interest, but not much more than that. However, higher grade and problem-free examples of the same coin can be worth from a few cents up to several $100s, especially when professionally graded. Rare errors and varieties from the same year can reach thousands of dollars. Your coin may not be among the most valuable examples, but it still carries history and can serve as a conversation piece or starter coin in a collection. By understanding the coin's condition, rarity, and demand, you can better appreciate where it fits in the numismatic world. The 1944 D wheat penny is a reminder that not every coin has to be worth a fortune to have value. Its real worth is in the story it tells, and the curiosity it inspires in those who collect and preserve pieces of America's past.
Next up, the 1943 steel penny with an S mint mark is another historic coin from World War II that sparks interest among collectors. In 1943, the U.S. Mint produced pennies out of zinc-coated steel instead of copper to conserve copper for ammunition and military supplies. The S on the coin stands for the San Francisco Mint, which struck fewer coins than Philadelphia, but still produced over 190 million steel cents that year. Because of this, the San Francisco 1943 steel penny is more desirable than the Philadelphia issue, though it is still common in lower grades. When we look at a coin in good condition, we are talking about the lower end of the grading scale. A good grade means the coin has seen heavy circulation. The details are still visible, but much of the finer design has worn away. On a 1943 S steel penny in good condition, you will notice that Lincoln's hair and coat details are quite smooth, and the lettering and date are clear but not sharp. If there are additional scratches on the coin, that lowers the overall eye appeal, which can slightly reduce collector interest. Still, even with scratches, these coins remain collectible because they are iconic pieces of American coinage. In terms of market value, a 1943 S steel penny in good condition is generally worth between about $260,000 in today's market. Most dealer price guides and auction listings show that well-worn steel cents do not bring high prices, since millions survive. A coin with scratches will typically be at the lower end of that value range. That said, some collectors do try to assemble full sets of 1943 steel cents from all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So even a good condition coin has a place in collections. It's also important to mention that special varieties, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or other minting errors, can command higher prices. But for a standard 1943 S with no errors, the value in heavily circulated condition with scratches remains modest. It's not the type of coin that sells for big money, but it is still a fascinating reminder of wartime America and the unique decision to change the penny's metal for a single year. For many collectors, the 1943 S penny is a great starting point because it is affordable and widely available. Even though the price is low, the story behind the coin gives it much more appeal than its small dollar value suggests. Having one in your collection connects you to a period when every piece of copper counted toward the war effort. In good condition, with scratches, you can expect this coin to be worth only cents to about $1. But its historical significance makes it a conversation piece and a collectible worth keeping.
Next up, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark. Its history, the meaning of its design, why collectors seek it, and its current market value in extra fine condition today. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first American coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic image like Liberty. On the front, or obverse, we see the portrait of Lincoln facing right, along with the motto, "In God We Trust," at the top. To the left side of the portrait is the word Liberty, and to the right is the date of issue, in this case, 1957. The reverse side of the coin carries the famous wheat stalks on each side, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above this is the motto, E pluribus unum. These wheat stalks gave the coin its popular name, the Wheat Penny. The 1957 issue was struck at 2 mints, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins struck in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those from Denver display a small D just below the date. Our focus here is on the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, which means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1957, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 282 million wheat pennies, making it a high mintage coin. Because of this, these coins are generally common, especially in lower grades that show heavy wear. However, when a coin is found in extra fine condition, its appeal to collectors increases significantly. Extra fine condition refers to a coin that still shows most of its original details, with only light wear visible on the highest points of the design. For a 1957 wheat penny, that means Lincoln's hair and cheek will show slight flattening, and the wheat stalks on the reverse may show small signs of wear. But overall, the design is crisp, clear, and attractive. Such a coin is much more desirable than an average circulated example. Collectors value coins based not just on rarity, but also on condition, demand, and historical importance. Even though the 1957 wheat penny, without a mint mark, is not rare, in a general sense, it represents the last decade of the wheat penny series. After 1958, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, making the wheat pennies a distinct and closed chapter in American numismatic history. This connection to the past adds to the demand among both beginning and experienced collectors. Now let us look at the market value. In today's coin market, the 1957 wheat penny, without a mint mark in average circulated condition, may be worth just a few cents above its face value, usually between 5 and 10 cents when sold in bulk. However, in extra fine condition, value is higher. On average, such a coin today is valued at around 25 to 50 cents, depending on eye appeal and the quality of preservation. A particularly sharp example, with strong detail and little discoloration, might sell for closer to $1. While this may not sound like a fortune, it is important to remember that these coins were struck in huge numbers and were used in everyday commerce, so finding one in extra fine condition is less common than it may seem. The coin market is also influenced by collector trends and the overall economy. In recent years, interest in wheat pennies has grown because they are seen as an accessible and affordable way for new collectors to enter the hobby. This renewed interest has kept values stable, and in some cases slightly rising, especially for coins in better conditions. Dealers often sell rolls of 1950s wheat pennies. In a sharp 1957 example, without a mint mark will usually stand out among the more worn pieces. It is also worth noting that higher grades beyond extra fine, such as uncirculated or mint state, can raise the value dramatically. A 1957 penny without a mint mark, in mint state 65, with full original red color, can sell for $10 to $15 or more. At the very highest grades, certified by professional grading companies, prices can exceed $100, showing just how condition drives value in the coin market. But in extra fine condition, which is more realistic for most collectors to find, the value is modest, but still higher than face value. For collectors, the 1957 wheat penny, without a mint mark, represents more than its price tag. It is a connection to the past, a piece of history from the post-war era of the United States. It circulated in a time of economic growth and social change, carrying the image of Lincoln in millions of daily transactions. Holding such a coin in your hand is holding a tangible link to American history, which is why collectors continue to cherish them. In summary, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark, in extra fine, condition is a common, yet historically important coin. Its value today in the market generally ranges from 25 cents to 50 cents, with some examples reaching up to $1 depending on eye appeal. While not rare or highly valuable in lower grades, it remains a beloved collectible and an essential part of any wheat penny collection. For those starting out in coin collecting, it provides an affordable way to own a piece of history. And for advanced collectors, it represents an important issue in the long-running Lincoln cent series. Next up, the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark stands out as an interesting piece for coin collectors and history enthusiasts. This coin was struck in Philadelphia, which is why it carries no mint mark. While not the rarest of the wheat pennies, its place in history, age, and collectability make it a coin worth learning about, especially for anyone starting a collection or for those curious about coin values in today's market. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny comes from a time in the United States when the country was still struggling with the aftereffects of the Great Depression. Money was tight, and every cent held real buying power. Because of this, coins from the 1930s carry with them not just monetary value, but also a reminder of a difficult chapter in American history. The wheat penny design itself was created by Victor David Brenner and was first introduced in 19... It features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the wheat ears design on the back. The wheat design was symbolic of prosperity and growth, which made it fitting for its era. By 1935, the design had been in circulation for over 20 years and was familiar to Americans everywhere. The Philadelphia Mint struck a large number of 1935 wheat pennies, with more than 245 million produced. Because of this high mintage, the coin is not considered extremely rare in the most basic circulated grades. However, as with all coins, condition plays a major role in determining value. A 1935 wheat penny in well-worn condition, such as the grade, known as good, is worth much less than one preserved in uncirculated or mint state condition. Collectors often seek out the best examples of older coins, which is why prices vary greatly between grades. For a collector just starting, even a coin in good condition has value beyond face value. But the real excitement comes when a coin is in exceptional condition or carries unique errors. When discussing the value of the 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition, it is important to define what good condition means in the world of coin grading. A coin in good grade typically shows heavy wear, with Lincoln's features worn down and the wheat stalks on the reverse mostly faded. Despite this, the date and main details remain visible. In today's coin market, a 1935 Lincoln wheat penny in good condition is valued at about 20 to 30 cents on average. While this may not seem like much, it is still more than its face value of 1 cent, and shows how coins can retain collectible worth even in lower grades. Of course, the price can rise significantly depending on better condition examples. For instance, coins in very fine condition may sell for a few dollars, and those in extremely fine condition can reach even higher prices. An uncirculated 1935 penny, with no wear and original mint luster, can sell for $20 to $30 or more depending on eye appeal. Rare variations, such as doubled die errors or other striking mistakes, can also bring higher values. However, for the purpose of focusing on a 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition, the realistic collector's market value remains under $1, with most sales happening around the 30-cent mark. Another factor that adds interest to the 1935 penny is its historical charm. Collectors often appreciate coins not only for their market price but for the story they tell. The wheat penny design is iconic, and Lincoln himself represents values of leadership and unity. Holding a 1935 penny is like holding a piece of everyday history from 90 years ago. Many collectors today first encounter wheat pennies in pocket change, passed down from relatives or found in old jars, which makes them a nostalgic introduction to coin collecting. The coin market itself fluctuates based on demand, metal prices, and collector trends. While copper value adds only a small fraction to the price of a single penny, it is worth noting that wheat pennies were made of 95% copper. This metal content gives the coins a lasting durability and appeal. Copper coins tend to tone and change color over time, which can either add character or decrease appeal depending on the eye of the collector. A brown 1935 wheat penny in good condition is typical, while red-brown or red examples are more desirable and command higher prices. But such color designations usually apply to higher-grade coins. For someone looking to buy or sell, a 1935 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition, today's market suggests a modest but steady value. It is not a coin that will make someone wealthy, but it does serve as a building block for a larger wheat penny collection, completing a full set of Lincoln wheat pennies, which spans from 1909 to 1958. Is a rewarding goal for many collectors, and the 1935 Philadelphia issue is a necessary piece of that set. Even in lower grades, it has importance because of its place in the sequence. In conclusion, The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark in good condition holds market value today of about 20 to 30 cents. While it may not carry a high dollar figure, it is a coin with real historical meaning and collecting interest. For new collectors, it represents an accessible entry point into the hobby. And for seasoned collectors, it remains an essential part. Of the Wheat Penny series, its worth lies not only in its market value but in the connection it provides to the past and the stories of those who once used it in everyday life. Next up, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the D mint mark stands out as one of the final years of this classic design. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which was responsible for producing the majority of the wheat pennies during the 1950s. In this video, we are going to explore the 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, look at its history, its design, its mintage, and most importantly, its value in today's coin market for normal circulated condition examples. To begin, it is important to understand the background of the Lincoln Wheat Penny itself. This coin was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and became the first United States coin to feature a real person on the obverse. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, a talented sculptor, and it quickly became iconic. The obverse of the coin shows the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing to the right, with the words, "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date, along with the mint mark on the right side. The reverse design, which lasted until 1958, features two wheat stalks along the edges with the words 1 cent in the center and United States of America beneath. At the top, the phrase E pluribus unum is displayed. By 1956, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, and production numbers were very high. At the Denver Mint that year, over 1.098 billion wheat pennies were struck. This huge mintage means that the 1956 D penny is not considered rare when compared to earlier years or lower mintage issues. Most examples found today are in circulated condition, and they are relatively common in coin collections or even in old jars of change. Still, because it represents one of the last years of the Wheat Penny series, many collectors seek out the coin to complete their sets. When discussing coin value, there are several factors to keep in mind. These include rarity, demand, condition, and whether the coin has any unique errors or varieties. The 1956 D penny in normal circulated condition does not fall into the category of rare coins, but it does carry collector value because of its historical appeal and connection to the wheat penny design. Condition plays a very big role in determining price. A normal circulated 1956 D wheat penny, which would show noticeable wear from being used in commerce, is usually worth more than face value but not a large amount. In today's coin market, a 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in average circulated condition is typically valued between 3 cents and 10 cents. This means that while it is worth more than its original face value of 1 cent, it is not considered highly valuable in normal condition. However, collectors do often pay small premiums to add the coin to their sets, and because billions were made, it is easy to find examples at affordable prices. For a coin in very fine condition, with only light wear, the value can rise slightly, often reaching 20 cents or more. For uncirculated examples, meaning coins that have never been used and still retain their original mint luster, the price can be significantly higher, ranging from $1 to $5, or more depending on the quality and grade. Another interesting aspect of the 1956 D penny is that there are some known error coins. Errors such as doubled dies, repunched, mint marks, and off-center strikes can dramatically increase the value of a coin. For example, certain doubled die varieties or coins with strong repunched mint marks from the Denver Mint can be worth several dollars even in circulated condition, and in high grades they can sell for much more. However, for the purposes of this video we are focusing only on the normal condition, non-error examples. When we talk about the value of this coin in today's market, we also have to consider that coin collecting has grown in popularity in recent years. More people are becoming interested in collecting Lincoln Wheat Pennies because they are affordable, historical, and fun to search for. This increase in demand has helped keep values steady, even for common dates like the 1956 DA collector may not pay hundreds of dollars for a circulated example, but the sentimental and historical value of the coin is undeniable. It connects us to a different time in American history, when wheat pennies were a part of daily life, and it represents the craftsmanship of early 20th century coin design. It is also worth noting that the 1956 D wheat penny is one of the final issues before the Lincoln Memorial design replaced the wheat reverse in 1959. Because of this, the coin holds a place as one of the last of its kind, adding to its historical importance. Collectors often like to have the complete run of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, and the 1956 D is one of the coins needed to finish the set. Next up, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the D mint mark stands out as one of the final years of this classic design. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which was responsible for producing the majority of the wheat pennies during the 1950s. In this video, we are going to explore the 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, look at its history, its design, its mint, and most importantly, its value in today's coin market for normal circulated condition. Examples. To begin, it is important to understand the background of the Lincoln Wheat Penny itself. This coin was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and became the first United States coin to feature a real person on the obverse. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, a talented sculptor, and it quickly became iconic. The obverse of the coin shows the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing to the right, with the words, "In God We Trust" above his head, Liberty on the left side, and the date along with the mint mark on the right side. The reverse design, which lasted until 1958, features two wheat stalks along the edges with the words 1 cent in the center and United States of America beneath. At the top, the phrase, E pluribus unum, is displayed. By 1956, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, and production numbers were very high. At the Denver Mint that year, over 1.098 billion wheat pennies were struck. This huge mintage means that the 1956 D penny is not considered rare when compared to earlier years or lower mintage issues. Most examples found today are in circulated condition, and they are relatively common in coin collections or even in old jars of change. Still, because it represents one of the last years of the Wheat Penny series, many collectors seek out the coin to complete their sets. When discussing coin value, there are several factors to keep in mind. These include rarity, demand, condition, and whether the coin has any unique errors or varieties. The 1956 D penny in normal circulated condition does not fall into the category of rare coins, but it does carry collector value because of its historical appeal and connection to the wheat penny design. Condition plays a very big role in determining price. A normal circulated 1956 D wheat penny, which would show noticeable wear from being used in commerce, is usually worth more than face value but not a large amount. In today's coin market, a 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in average circulated condition is typically valued between 3 cents and 10 cents. This means that while it is worth more than its original face value of 1 cent, it is not considered highly valuable in normal condition. However, collectors do often pay small premiums to add the coin to their sets, and because billions were made, it is easy to find examples at affordable prices. For a coin in very fine condition, with only light wear, the value can rise slightly, often reaching 20 cents or more. For uncirculated examples, meaning coins that have never been used and still retain their original mint luster, the price can be significantly higher, ranging from $1 to $5, or more depending on the quality and grade. Another interesting aspect of the 1956 D penny is that there are some known error coins. Errors such as doubled dies, repunched, mint marks, and off-center strikes can dramatically increase the value of a coin. For example, certain doubled die varieties or coins with strong repunched mint marks from the Denver Mint can be worth several dollars even in circulated condition, and in high grades they can sell for much more. However, for the purposes of this video we are focusing only on the normal condition, non-error examples. When we talk about the value of this coin in today's market, we also have to consider that coin collecting has grown in popularity in recent years. More people are becoming interested in collecting Lincoln Wheat Pennies because they are affordable, historical, and fun to search for. This increase in demand has helped keep values steady, even for common dates like the 1956 DA collector may not pay hundreds of dollars for a circulated example, but the sentimental and historical value of the coin is undeniable. It connects us to a different time in American history, when wheat pennies were a part of daily life, and it represents the craftsmanship of early 20th century coin design. It is also worth noting that the 19th wheat penny is one of the final issues before the Lincoln Memorial design replaced the wheat reverse in 1959. Because of this, the coin holds a place as one of the last of its kind, adding to its historical importance. Collectors often like to have the complete run of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958, and the 1956 D is one of the coins needed to finish the set. Next up, the 1956 penny minted in Denver, identified with the letter D under the date, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. While not an extremely rare coin compared to some earlier wheat cents, it still carries history, demand, and value that makes it worth looking into. For anyone who is beginning coin collecting or simply has a handful of old pennies they want to learn more about, the 1956 D wheat penny is an excellent coin to study because it shows how condition, mintage numbers, and collector demand all work. together to determine a coin's worth in today's market. To begin, the Lincoln Wheat Penny series ran from 1909 until 1958. It was designed by Victor David Brenner and features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The reverse shows two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, which is why collectors often call these coins wheat pennies. By 1956, the series was in its final years, but production was still going strong, especially at the Denver Mint. The Denver facility struck more than 1 billion Lincoln Wheat Pennies in 1956, specifically over 1,058 million coins. This large mintage makes the 1956D one of the more common dates in the series. Because of such a high production figure, many 1956D pennies have survived and are still relatively easy to find today in circulated grades. They often turn up in old coin jars, inherited collections, or even in circulation decades ago before the wheat design disappeared completely. However, when we narrow our focus to coins in better condition, such as those graded extra fine, the value starts to become more interesting. Extra fine condition, also known as XF or EF, is a grade that indicates the coin has seen some circulation but still retains much of its original detail. On a 1956D penny, in extra fine grade, you would expect to see light wear on the high points of Lincoln's cheek and jaw, but most of the hair details and lettering would still be sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse would show slight flattening at the tips, but the lines within the wheat would remain visible. Overall, it should be a coin that looks attractive to the naked eye while showing only moderate wear. Collectors often seek coins in extra fine condition because they strike a balance between affordability and detail preservation. Now, when it comes to the market value of the 1956D Lincoln Wheat Penny in extra fine condition, the price is influenced by its large supply. Because so many were struck and many have survived, the coin is not considered rare. In today's collector market, a 1956D Wheat Penny in extra fine condition generally sells for between 10 cents and 50 cents. Most often, it falls on the lower side of that range, closer to 10 or 20 cents, unless it has exceptional eye appeal. While that may not sound like a large amount, it is important to remember that this value is already more than its face value of 1 cent, which shows the collecting premium. Beyond basic extra fine coins, certain varieties or error strikes from the 1956D minting can be worth considerably more. For example, doubled die varieties, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes can raise the value significantly, sometimes into the tens or even hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity and demand. This is why collectors often check their wheat pennies closely with a magnifying glass or microscope, looking for such details. But for the typical 1956D in extra fine condition without any special variety, the value remains modest. Another factor that affects market value is whether the coin is raw or certified. A raw coin is simply a loose coin sold in a flip, 2x2 holder, or tube. Certified coins are graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, which encapsulate them in a protective holder with an official grade. For a common date like the 1956D, certification is usually not worthwhile because the grading fee exceeds the coin's value. Therefore, most extra fine examples are traded raw between collectors. It is also useful to consider the historical and sentimental value of a coin like the 1956D Wheat Penny. While its monetary value may be small, it represents a piece of American history. In 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. Elvis Presley was beginning to dominate music, and the United States was in the post-war boom years. Holding a coin from that year connects us directly to the pockets and lives of people living nearly 70 years ago. For many collectors, this sense of history is just as important as dollar value. The overall takeaway is that the 1956D Lincoln Wheat Penny in extra fine condition is a common coin with a modest price tag in today's market, usually worth between 10 and 50 cents. While not a fortune, it is a perfect coin for beginners to study and collect, and it helps build the foundation of a wheat penny set. It also teaches us about how mintage numbers, condition, and collector demand all play roles in determining coin values. For anyone with a 1956D Wheat Penny, it is worth holding on to, both as a collectible and as a small but meaningful piece of American history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For more coin collecting content, see you in next time. Happy collecting!